with nobody, I've said this multiple times that this is a film that you cannot really classify into one genre. Like even as you watch the film, I'm sure if you look back at it, you will realize that okay, when the film started, you would have thought, oh, this is a film about a bank robbery. Then 5 minutes later, you realize, oh, this is not about who robbed the bank or how they are going to be caught. The film is not about that. Then it suddenly becomes like a social commentary. Then it becomes like a kidnap drama. Then it sort of becomes like a man against system. So it keeps switching its genres. And one particular point of the film, it turns into a running man kind of a film where it's one person being chased by the entire society around him, and he physically opposes it. He physically opposes it, and what happens from there on is what the film is about. So the action is part of that narrative. It is not even like usual cinema where you sit down and design and you realize, okay, let's have an action sequence at this part in the first half and then the interval block, then pre-climax. Here the action is like one continuous block almost in the second half where it's actually the story is that he is facing one hurdle after the other, and each one of those hurdles is overcome through actual physical reactions. So the action is part of the narrative. It was written that way. Of course, shooting action is expensive, and we had some of the best action directors working for us in this film, including, Yannick Ben's team flew in from France, and, he was there, Calais Kingston was there, Jolly Master was there. So it was like a big team working for the film. Now, regarding the budgets of the film, filmmaking is becoming increasingly expensive every day, from equipment hire to location rentals to, of course, remunerations. Everything is going up. It is becoming increasingly expensive each day. But what truly decides the budget of a film is the script. Because people ask me this question as a director, because I made a film called Emperor, which is like a big budgeted film. It's not the director who really decides the budget of the film. It is what is written on paper. Now, nobody is written in a particular fashion, and to translate that into screen as best as we can, there is an amount of money that needs to be spent. I am very lucky that I have Mukesh sir and Sarathi as my partners, because they understand this even better than me. They know, they will read the script and they will tell me if I am saying, okay, this is about, I think we'll make this film at 40 crores. They'll tell, no, sir, this is actually this much money. This is how we can delegate the funds. And they are actually very, very good with that and way more experienced than me. I'm actually thankful that I have Mukesh sir, who's probably more experienced than my age. So he has been around for, I think, as long as cinema is there. So he keeps giving me these pointers, and budgets are decided by the scripts. Malayalam cinema becoming bigger, and that's not about Malayalam. Everywhere you go, this is a problem that we have today, that cinema is becoming more and more expensive. Tahir is here, his cameras are very expensive, his equipment is very expensive. He does not give me discount also. So there, and I only work with him what to do. So because he has great equipment. So all this is becoming more and more expensive every day. But yeah, we try and keep our budgets as tight as we can in Malayalam. Thankfully, we have great actors like Parvati who understand and come in and cooperate and be part of a film, understanding that okay, this is how the film needs to be made. Of course, for most of my films, I try and not take a remuneration, and I take a share of the profits if there are profits. So that is how we are able to make these films in Malayalam. Or else there will be big restrictions on what kind of cinema we can make. Of course, in Telugu it's much easier because the market is bigger. We are all aspiring to do what Telugu cinema has consistently done after Bahubali. Where how you've really sort of grown and exploded your international territories, your domestic markets, your Indian markets, your dubbed versions market. There is a lesson in there for all of us. So yeah, hopefully one day budgets will no longer be an issue for Malayalam cinema. Let's look forward to that day. Yeah.
Prithviraj garu.
Prithvi sir, how difficult to shoot?
మీకు మిమ్మల్ని హుక్ చేసిన పాయింట్ ఏంటి in this film?
My Telugu is not that good. I only know dialogues from Varanasi, so you have to ask me in English.
Can we expect one dialogue from Varanasi?
Absolutely not. 7th of
That's the
April,
contractual
7th of
obligation
April,
he
you
has.
can come and hear it in PCX here.
Working with Mahesh Babu garu, sir.
Very
At
nice.
least. That's it only.
I'll definitely see you guys for Varanasi release. That time we'll speak detailed about Varanasi. So,
Okay,
Sir,
all the best.
how difficult to shoot action sequences very realistic in I Nobody?
so basically, I really like shooting action. I became a filmmaker through actually shooting action sequences. Like long back in some of my films when we could not afford action choreographers, I used to shoot the action sequence. That's how I became a filmmaker also. I really like shooting action sequences. But in this particular film, is the first time I'm working with Yannick Ben, who comes from a different school of action choreography. So in India, especially in South India, we have a language that we like regarding how we shoot action, which is a lot of cut shots and high speed, slow motion build-ups and all that. That's how we like seeing action and heroes on screen. Yannick comes from a completely different school. Yannick, if there's an action sequence which is about, let's say, 5 minutes long, Yannick will come and choreograph the entire 5 minutes. Then he will call the actor, and we will rehearse the entire 5 minutes as almost like a dance movement. Like the whole 5 minutes we will rehearse. And then what Yannick really tries to do is try and not cut as much as possible. So if you see, it's all handheld and long single shots and all that. Obviously, it's much more difficult to pull off. But the good thing is, Yannick's fighters are also so good, and Yannick is so good with that choreography that it sort of works well for all of us. And yeah, it's a lot of physical work for the actor, but if you pull it off, it becomes very real and raw. Not just Yannick, Kalei Kingston is another really exciting action choreographer that we have. The lift fight in Nobody is done by Kalei Kingston. Now, again, it was not an easy fight to shoot or choreograph. It was just a confined space where 3 people are going at each other. And that also had a lot of challenges. But I was guided by Kalei. He's very, very good. So yeah, I mean, full credit to these action choreographers. Is it easy? No, it's not easy, but it's something that I like doing.
Does that rehearsals reduces the budget?
Not really. I mean, see, when you hire an action team, I'll give you a lesson as a producer. When you hire an action team, you're paying them for the rehearsals also. Okay? It is not like rehearsals are free. When you hire an action team, they say 3 days rehearsals and you're shooting in Hyderabad, you have to pay them the money for the 3 days, put them up in a hotel, hire a place for the rehearsal. So that money you have to spend. But it is still cheaper than actual money on set. Okay, on set is your most expensive money. So there, if you can save, let's say, 3 hours a day because you rehearsed, it's priceless. It's very, very good that you can do that. Yeah.
Sir,
Sesi garu.
Yes, we welcome
Sesi
Jakes
garu.
Vijay garu.
Jake's music director, who's also a star in Telugu, is
Yes,
here.
మాకు సరిపోదా శనివారం
hello.
టాక్సీ వాళ్ళ వీటన్నిటితో ఎంటర్టైన్ చేశారు అండ్ ఫ్రమ్
Sesi
ఫస్ట్ సీన్ మీ వర్క్తో ప్యూర్ డామినెన్స్ కనిపించింది వి ఎంజాయ్డ్ యువర్ మ్యూజిక్ in this film also, as usually, like how we enjoyed in the previous films. So thank you so much and congratulations to you. And Sashi garu kuda join ayyaru and ayana Aadu Jeevitam intaku mundu kuda distribute chesaru, ipudu Nizam kuda distribute chestunnaru ee cinemani.
Prithvi sir and
Hello.
Parvati ma'am.
Hello.
Just one minute. The characters you played, the very natural and emotional. So the middle class life characters, where you take the references? Is there any references you take